guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, it's Mishel from Deception Bytes and it's Saturday, and it is 9:25 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm getting a late start again tonight and I apologize. It just could not be helped. I had something that I had to do earlier in the day. So anyway, I'm here now and we are going to get into the Q related news. Q has not posted again. So, but as always, we always have the Q related news. So let's go. Well, first I want to show you these. Somebody sent these to me. A listener from New Mexico. You know who you are. Thank you very much. I just got it in the mail tonight when I checked the mail. They were here and it says, I was normal 3 cats ago. Meow, 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 meow. And of course, I will wear those because, well, I love cats. What can I say? All right. Let's get into well, not that. That's not what we want. We want to go here. Yes, we've got plenty of Q-related news this evening. I do want to thank you guys that have supported me through Patreon or through buying me coffee or sending money to PayPal. I just really, really appreciate it. It helps me continue to provide, this and to be able to work on it compensates me for my time because it does take a lot to go through and find things. And I do appreciate, too, when people send me things. I appreciate that very much. My friend Heather in Houston seems to dig up some interesting things from time to time and send them on to me. And as well, I've got people on Twitter that do that. So if you are on Twitter, I'm there. You can look at the description and my Twitter is there. Please look me up, and if you follow me and you want me to follow you back, just say so. Sometimes it takes a couple times because I get a lot of notifications, but don't think that I'm ignoring you. It's just that I haven't seen it. And if I haven't seen it, let me know again, and I will follow you. Okay, well, let's get started here. And the first I wanted to show you, now, I don't have an article for this because it came from the Blaze radio show with Glenn Beck, okay? And he said that migrants were being monitored for the Snowbola virus. This word right here, for those of you that don't know my codes, the Snowbola virus in Kentucky and Ohio is vaccinating people against Ebola virus. So there's migrants being monitored, and Kentucky and Ohio is vaccinating people against the Ebola virus. Now, I don't know. I don't know anything about the virus. I haven't heard anything about the vaccination rather for the virus. I haven't heard much about it. I know that it's having success over in the Congo to some extent, but I'd be worried about putting the live Ebola virus because obviously a vaccination carries the virus just in a very attenuated form. So I would be a little bit worried about that personally, but I guess when the time comes, I'll have to make that decision for myself. But if any of you know anything about this vaccination, please forward to me the information. Let me know in the comments, but sometimes when the comments get really long, I don't get to them all. I try very hard, but when it gets to be just an insane amount of comments, I just can't keep up because it would take me all the time to look at the comments from the day before, and then I have to do the ones for the video of that day. Now, I do, especially those that post right away after I post, I generally always get to all of those. But if you're posting a day or two behind, I probably won't see it. But please, I think most of you know my email, and please send me anything that you find is interesting, anything that's going on in your area that you think, gosh, I don't see this being covered anywhere. Let me know. Chances are I'll cover it. So anyway, Kentucky issued a Snowbola alert to residents that migrants are being monitored for the Snowbola virus in Kentucky. So I know that we do have some listeners from Kentucky. So please let us know. Let the rest of us know what is happening and what, if anything, you're hearing about this in the news. Probably not much, if anything at all. So this person on Twitter sent me this message, and I just saw it right before I was coming on, so I thought I would add it. It says, Mishel D. Bytes, FYI, to add to your videos, had to go to ER last Sunday here in Florida. At the check-in desk, top of the wall, right next to the scale, a 2x2 poster, how to recognize the signs for Ebola. Thought you would be interested. Well, I am interested, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the listeners are interested as well, because to me, you don't put up signs like that if there's no chance that it could be in this area, in the States or in Florida. They're not going to put up signs like that in the ER if there's no chance for contracting it. Or, you know, it's scary to think about, because you could go to the ER for something and there could be people there that have the virus waiting to be seen, don't yet know that they have it. It's scary. And especially for the people that are working in the hospitals. I can't imagine. And I know I've spoken to a friend of mine that works in a large hospital in Savannah. And, you know, he's a little bit, you know, I don't know what the word would be. He's not afraid, but he's very cautious. And he's wondering, how long is it going to take before it shows up at this hospital? And I think probably all of the healthcare providers are wondering the same. Anyway, I do believe that it is here on U.S. soil, and they are trying to cover it up as best they can and not alarm people. I do understand that to a point, but on the other hand, I think that we need to be prepared. I think, you know, I want to get some medical grade masks and things like that, because if it comes to the fact that there are people in this area with it, sorry, I just hit the microphone, then I want to know, and I want to protect myself. I'll wear gloves and I'll wear a mask, and I don't care if people laugh at me, really. That's what I'll do, because you don't know who's touching those carts. We've got people from the Congo in this area now. So I don't know, but when I'm in a store with them, I feel, which I have been, I went to Walmart and I was just surprised that there were all these people there from the Congo. And I'm like, okay, this makes me a little nervous, because I don't know, am I touching a shopping cart that they've touched? And I mean, I don't want to be like that. But on the other hand, we don't know, because they haven't been properly vetted. So we don't know what they have. And it's too bad, because people are probably very afraid of them because of where they come from. And I understand it, but I mean, I'm sure it's hard for them as well. Anyway, let's go on here. We've got lots more to cover. And we are going to look at this little interesting tidbit. I think you will find it quite tasty. Trump rape accuser E. Jean Carroll reveals she sexually harassed Roger Ailes by demanding he twirl, flashing her legs on air and saying he was her future husband and a pearl of his sex. Yeah, okay. Why or how is that appropriate in any sense of the word? Unbelievable. E. Jean Carroll reveals in an interview with Vanity Fair that she sexually harassed Roger Ailes while working for him at America's Talking. I would say of Roger Ailes, he's my future husband. It never stopped. I'd ask him to twirl for me. I adored him, said Carroll. This interview occurs 1 week after she accused President Trump of sexually assaulting her in a dressing room at Bergdorf Goodman. Which, by the way, is a episode of SVU, and the liberals are trying to counter that and saying, "Oh, that's ridiculous. The conservatives are making this up. It's fake news." No, we're not making it up. It is an episode of SVU. So, yeah, and I distinctly heard her say that she never had sex again after she had this so-called run-in with Trump, but how can that be? She's been married twice. And here she was, sexually harassing Roger Ailes. That doesn't sound like somebody that is terrified of having sex, does it? No. And she kept saying that he was her future husband. Well, did she want to marry him so that they could not have sex for the rest of their lives? It doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. And I don't believe a word this woman says. She's trying to sell her book. It's evident. It has been 1 week since E. Jean Carroll published a story in New York claiming she was raped by Donald Trump, and since that time, the advice columnist has raised eyebrows with some of her remarks about the alleged incident and her thoughts on sexual assault. Carroll made another explosive claim on Friday, telling Vanity Fair that she sexually harassed Roger Ailes, the former Fox News CEO who was accused of misconduct by a number of women. The 76-year-old writer would even refer to Ailes as her future husband. 2 decades before, he would go on to champion the man she claims sexually assaulted her in a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room. Ailes was her boss at the time of the alleged rape at America's Talking, the network which aired her show Ask E. Jean, was a predecessor to MSNBC. So she doesn't sound like she's all there personally. Let me see here. And there she is. Speaking out, E.G. Carroll above reveals in an interview with Vanity Fair that she sexually harassed Roger Ailes while working for him at America's Talking. Yeah. Oh, I did it. Every day I had a chance. I call him the pearl of his sex. Right on air, says Carroll. I roll up my trouser legs. I would wait for the camera to come over. Then I would slowly pull up the right and then the left trouser leg. She continued, I would say of Roger Ailes, he's my future husband. It never stopped. I'd ask him to twirl for me. I adored him. Carroll also spoke about her comments during an interview with Anderson Cooper earlier this week when she said that most people think rape is sexy. I don't know of anyone that thinks rape is sexy. Yeah. Anyway, now, she says in an interview that she would have worded her remarks differently and pointed to the language that Joy Behar used on The View as a better example. She went on The View and got into an argument, and she was defending my vision of the word rape being filled with sexual imagery and fantasy connotation, said Carroll. She said, everyone here has seen Gone with the Wind. She said, you know, when Rhett Butler grabs Scarlett O'Hara and picks her up and carries her up the stairs. She's fighting him. She is slugging his chest, and he is going to take her and he's going to throw her down. They cut to a scene of her in bed as happy and rosy and fulfilled as any woman, and many women have this fantasy. That's very different than rape, if you ask me. Anyway, Carroll then pointed out that Nora Ephron had similar notion of the word. She's written about it, having her clothes ripped off by a group of men, she said of the late writer. The only way she changed that fantasy was she was wearing different outfits. It's a female in a male fantasy. Okay, then. I don't think I know any women that fantasize about being raped. Really. Cooper was caught off guard on Monday while interviewing writer E. Jean Carroll, who balked at the notion that most people view rape as a violent assault. Carroll, 76, also downplayed her own alleged assault while reiterating the fact that there was nothing sexual about the alleged incident and describing it instead as a fight. It was after she did this and told Cooper that she did not see herself as a victim that the host stated, most people think of rape as a violent assault. Carroll countered that by declaring, I think most people think of rape as being sexy. That comment stunned Cooper, who was then speechless with his mouth agape when Carroll added, think of the fantasies. Am I out in left field? Do women really fantasize about this? Some of you women out there, do you fantasize about being raped? I can honestly say I have never in my life fantasized about being raped. It is a violent act. Anyway, she cited a group of men. Wait. Yes, Cooper then stumbled over his words as he cut to the show's first commercial break, but not before his guest said, "You're fascinating to talk to." Carol told Vanity Fair she is also enjoying her new fame. Oh, I bet she is enjoying her new fame. "Fabulous, buoyant. It's almost merry because of the support when I walk down the streets. It is incredibly heartwarming," said Carol. She cited a group of men in their 20s who gave her a thumbs up as she walked by, and another who gave her a royal greeting as some highlights. "As I was talking to someone on the phone yesterday, a man stood in front of me, bowing as I talked on the phone," said Carol. "It was amazing. It was like he was standing in front of Queen Elizabeth." This woman has issues. Like, seriously. Issues. I think she has more than just issues. I think she has the whole subscription. Really. She's got problems, and she's got problems with hair on them. Yeah. Carol also responded to the comments made just an hour earlier by President Trump, who denied her allegations for a third time in an interview with The Hill. "I'll say it with great respect. Number one, she's not my type. Number two, it never happened. It never happened, okay?" said President Trump. In that same interview, he also doubled down on his claim that he and Carol had never met, despite a photo showing the pair in conversation at a 1987 event. I love that. "I am so glad I'm not his type. I'm so glad," said Carol. "That was 20 years ago, and I probably was at the moment in that 5 minutes the most attractive woman in Bergdorf's for that one bit of time." Cooper then noted that this was not the first time President Trump had declared one of his accusers not his type, having previously said the same thing about Jessica Leeds. Carol and Leeds are the two oldest of the 16 women to accuse Trump of sexual misconduct. "When you look at that horrible woman last night, you said, I don't think so. She would not be my first choice, that I can tell you," Trump said of Leeds. "Man, you don't know. That would not be my first choice." I just don't believe this woman because, number one, I just don't think that Trump is the sort to ask a woman to try on lingerie. And secondly, if he was, what woman in their right mind would go into a dressing room and try on lingerie for him, who is reportedly a stranger to her? Doesn't make sense. Who would do that? And yeah, and do you really think he would sexually assault someone in a store that has cameras and security? And I mean, she could have started screaming. Why didn't she scream? And yeah, none of it makes sense to me. So until somebody credible comes along and accuses him, I just don't buy it. I believe that he is certainly attracted to beautiful women, but I don't believe that he has to resort to rape. I just don't. Most women would be. There's a lot of women that would want to be with him just because he's rich. I'm not one of them. I respect the man, but I respect him as president. That's it. I don't look at him as, ooh, hubba hubba. But apparently some women do. Now, what else was I going to say? Something, but it's gone. It's gone. All right. Now, let's go back here because there's plenty more to get into. And let's scroll down here. And here's something that will keep you up, probably. Maybe not, but it's a little disconcerting if you ask me. Pentagon has developed a laser that can identify subjects from hundreds of meters away based on their heartbeat. Yeah, did you know we all have a very distinct heartbeat? I didn't know that. I really didn't. The Pentagon can identify targets from afar using a laser to measure heartbeats. Technology is being developed for U.S. special operations for surveillance. Infrared lasers are able to penetrate clothing and skin to monitor blood flow. Heartbeats are completely unique, unlike faces or even thumbprints. Prototypes currently have a range of about 200 meters or 219 yards. Yeah, so we all have a unique heartbeat, and they are developing or have developed this technology that from 200 meters away or 219 yards, they can penetrate through your clothing and whatever and know what your heartbeat is and who you are. Interesting. Wonder if they, well, we know that they can also stop your heart. They do have a heart attack gun. It's been talked about for many, many years now. It's old news. But to a lot of people, you bring that up and they think, oh, that's ridiculous. Yes, they do have a heart attack gun. And you can look that up. It's well known. U.S. Special Forces are taking a more intimate approach to remotely identifying targets using lasers to sense their heartbeat. According to MIT Technology Review, the Pentagon has developed a prototype of the technology, codenamed Jetson, that uses infrared lasers to read a person's cardiac signature. Though far less obvious than fingerprints or faces, people's heartbeats have a distinct profile, making them among the most useful biometrics for uniquely identifying a person. What separates the signatures from others like it, however, is the fact that unlike a face, which can bear many similar features to another, heartbeats are entirely distinct. As noted by MIT companies like NIME are already using cardiac signatures taken via a wrist-mounted pulse sensor to identify people for security purposes. Another advantage that has made the type of detection particularly desirable for the U.S. military is the use of lasers, which allow for a relatively long range. Current prototypes work from about 200 meters or 219 yards, and with further modifications, that range could be extended. I don't want to say you could do it from space. Stuart Ramali of the Pentagon's Combating Terrorism Technical Support Office told MIT, but longer ranges should be possible. Heartbeat patterns, which are gleaned by detecting the changes in infrared light caused by a person's blood flow, are not only highly accurate, about 95 to 98%, but also versatile. It makes me wonder, and okay, I'm extrapolating from this and probably extrapolating quite a bit, but makes me wonder if, Fitbit and all those things that you wear that can, monitor your heart rate and all that, makes me wonder if that information is sent anywhere. I don't know. I mean, yes, it sounds absolutely ridiculous, I know, but we've got Alexa in our homes listening to us. We've got smart TVs listening to us. How much of a leap does it take to think that all these heart rate monitors and things that we're putting on for fitness, tracking our steps, how much information is it really gathering? And does it get sent anywhere? I don't know. I mean, you have an app that goes with it. Is that app collecting this data and sending it somewhere? Be interesting to find out, because my first thought when I read this is, but how do they know it's me? Like, unless they've already got my heart signature and my cardiac signature rather, how would they know it's me? And how would they get my cardiac signature? Just saying. It's interesting to think about. Like, how is this an advantage if they don't already have the target's cardiac signature? Because if they do, they can, have this device and from 200 meters away can say, oh, yep, that's so-and-so. But wouldn't they already have had to have a base? Like wouldn't they have to have the data to compare it to? And where are they going to get that from? Just saying. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm being ridiculous? Or do you think it's a possibility? I don't know. They push those Fitbits a lot, and I mean, everyone I know wears one. I did have one, but in the middle of the night, it electrocuted me, and it was the most bizarre thing I'd ever seen in my life. It literally was buzzing on my wrist and sending a shock. And I woke up really suddenly and terrified, and I took it off really quickly, and it's never worked since. So I haven't gotten another one because I'm scared now. I didn't know they could shock you. I don't know if anybody else has had that experience, but it was pretty alarming, to say the least. Okay, so let's go on from that. I think we've talked the hind legs off a mule there on that one. And let's come down to this. I can't remember what this is, but I think it's important. Oh, yes. Look at this. No, really, look. Londoners flee capital in record numbers due to crime and cost of living. Residents leaving city to get away from the stabbings. Gee, I mean, I guess taking people's knives away and things isn't helping, is it? No, just like taking people's guns away doesn't help either. Thought I would stick that in there. New figures show that record numbers of Londoners are fleeing the capital as a result of soaring violent crime rates and the high cost of living. And this is exactly what they're doing. What you see this man doing here. They don't care who you are. They'll pull you out of the car and stab you. You know, I would not want to live there. I'd rather be shot than stabbed, actually. I really would. Yeah, if I had my druthers. Okay. Let me see. Stats released by the Office for National Statistics show that in the year to June, 340,498 Londoners left the city, while just 270 migrated inward from the rest of the country, a net loss of 103,228. 336,000 Londoners already left in 2017, a figure significantly higher than the 255,140 who left in 2012. However, London's population is still increasing thanks to immigration from abroad. Christopher Snowdon, head of lifestyle economics at the Institute of Economic Affairs, said the cost of living was a major factor, that the Londoners were also fleeing the capital soaring violent crime. Obviously, people who want a better quality of life, Obviously, people also want a better quality of life, but they also want access to good schools, to live in rural areas, and to get away from the stabbings, he told the Times. As we reported yesterday, not even animals are safe from the city's knife crime epidemic, with a beloved pet donkey becoming the latest victim. As I document in the video below, many people who live in London are forced to be drunk or high on coke half the time just to tolerate living there. It's really alarming how many stabbings there are now there. And what is happening is the Londoners are moving out, the migrants are moving in. It's getting worse and worse and worse. The crime rate is just keeps climbing. They can't, I don't know why this surprises them. I really don't know why this surprises them. And by them, I'm talking about the leaders, because the normal people, they don't seem to have a say whether they let these people in or not. And it's the Londoners that have been there for, eons. Some of their families have lived, their relatives have lived there, and their relatives and whatever, but they are being forced out to get away from the stabbings. So eventually, London has pretty much been taken over. You see them in the streets with the call of the Islamic call over the radio, and apparently wherever that call goes, the land belongs to them. And so it's piped out, and everybody kneels in the street and prays and whatever. It's amazing. It's like you would never believe it was London. And I don't know, I just keep hearing more and more and more. And people, well, they're being forced out because the cost, I saw a documentary and it was showing what people had. And some of them were living in places like literally people would rent out a toilet. They rented out a toilet. And this person that made it into an apartment, a toilet. Yes. And, it showed another girl that was living in just a tiny, and not even as big as a bachelor apartment, just teeny, tiny. And she had it all organized. And she said, it cost her a lot of money just for that. So it's, I think that's happening really the world over. The cities are getting way too expensive to live in. People can't afford it, and they're being forced out. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not good. All right, let's go on here. And I really liked this from Educating Liberals. If you are on Twitter, good person to follow. It says, Dear Liberals, which is more likely to influence our election? 12 Russians making Facebook posts or 12 million illegal aliens casting votes? Yeah, I think it's the 12 million. And actually, I've heard that that is like way underestimated, that it's around 22 million illegals. 22 million illegals in the US, and they are voting, most of them. And who do you think they're voting for? Right. Yeah, that is, foreign interference. That is influencing our election, but that's never addressed by anybody except Trump. So, I say, use your dang brains. Really. I mean, how can, they're so upset about the Russians. Oh, the Russians. But, they don't say anything about the 22 million illegals that are voting in our elections. Unbelievable. And they're going to vote for whoever is for them, whoever is the most lenient on the illegals, and whoever gives them the most stuff. It's human nature. Now, I want to show you this, and, I want to feel sorry for the guy, but I don't. I don't, because I think that he is one of the world leaders that is involved in some nefarious, to say the least, things. The symbol for the Trudeau Foundation is the same symbol for pedophilia. And plus he gives lots of money to the Clinton Foundation. So that's another tip off. But let's look at him. Nobody really wants, and I noticed this at the last G20, because he came over and he was just kind of a little bit, sheepish and everything, because nobody would shake his hand. Nobody would talk to him. Everybody was kind of, congregated in little groups talking. And here he was with his big man bag and, in his stupid ducky socks. And, he's walking around trying to get people to talk to him. Nobody will pay him any attention. So he goes over to Trump, and Trump just turns around and nods at him and then goes back to talking to who he was. And it's like the look on his face is like priceless. So that was the last one. This is this one. Let's see if anything's changed. All right, hang on here. Make sure that I've got the... Okay. Here he is. Wow. Now, I think this is the guy from Brazil, if I'm not mistaken. But do you think he could have been any more obvious that he was turning away from Justin Trudeau? Yeah. Let's watch that again. Here's Trudeau. This is Xi Jinping. Oh, Bolsonaro. So yeah, Bolsonaro is here. And okay, let's watch it again. I'm sorry. I'm enjoying this a little bit too much.
Trudeau clearly turning his back to Xi to greet an unlikely ally, Brazil's far-right leader, Jair Bolsonaro.
I wonder what Canada did to Brazil. I don't know. I don't know what that is, but he clearly did not want to shake the guy's hand. And I've seen other little snippets of people doing the same thing, just, kind of avoiding him. So he hasn't made any friends out there. I'm telling you, on the world stage, he hasn't made any friends. And I'm pretty certain that these men and women, there are women leaders as well, but these men and women don't find his little socks amusing. He always wears these ridiculous socks. He's a grown man, and he is, the prime minister of a nation. I don't get it. Why would you want to wear these silly socks? Does he think it makes him relatable? Because it doesn't. I don't know, but yeah. All right. Now, I don't think he's going to be around that long, to tell you the truth. I think that he is up to here with Nexium and a whole bunch of other things that he's been involved in. So that's just how I feel. But anyway, let's go on here. I can't remember what this is, but it must be good. Only the best for you guys, only the best. Oh, yes, yes. California Governor Gavin Newsom has signed his first budget. Here's where the $215 billion will go. Hang on here. I hate all these little pop-ups. Yeah. California will increase its spending on public education, expand healthcare services, and stash away more money than ever for an economic downturn under the state budget signed Thursday by Governor Gavin Newsom, a plan that was stalled for 2 weeks over how it would address the state's growing housing crisis. The $214.8 billion budget is the largest in state history. The majority of its provisions take effect next week, though some new services will be funded until January in an effort to lower the short-term cost. Newsom touted the budget agreement in a live event on Facebook from his Capitol office, reciting a long list of the plan's highlights and boasting that he had followed the course set by his predecessor, former Governor Jerry Brown. That tradition continues, Newsom said. Oh, I wish it wouldn't. The governor, who took office in January, was largely able to persuade Democrats in the legislature to follow his lead and expand programs in ways that don't necessarily commit the state to years of additional spending, ensuring what he called the budget's resiliency to weather future fiscal storms. Perhaps the governor's largest setback was his effort to impose a new tax on water users for clean water supplies in disadvantaged communities, replaced in the final budget with a plan that relies on funds earmarked for climate change programs. The governor and Democratic legislative leaders issued only a brief statement in support of the spending plan, a quiet ending to prolonged negotiations after the legislature agreed to the bulk of the proposal June 13. Key to those talks was an effort to address the state's housing and homelessness challenges. Newsom, along with the Senate President Pro Tem Tony Atkins, Democrat San Diego, and Assembly Speaker Anthony Rendon, Democrat Lakewood, agreed to divvy up $650 million among major cities, counties, and regional homelessness prevention agencies, with cities taking the largest share of $275 million. The deal also prioritizes giving state housing funds to cities and counties to make it easier for developers to build, and in most extreme cases, it would add financial penalties for local governments that violate state laws requiring them to plan for growth. But see, they don't have a plan for combating homelessness. A lot of those people, now, yes, some of them are substance abusers, alcoholics, what have you. Some of them are mentally ill. Some of them will always probably be on the streets because you get them and you take them and you do something, but they just escape and they go back to the streets. So there's always going to be an element that's there. Whether people want to admit it or not. However, there's a growing segment of people that they've just been priced out. They've been priced out of the housing market, the apartment market. You know, they can't afford it. They just can't afford it. I was looking at an apartment, not for myself, but just interestingly, I was looking at what the prices were in, was it San Francisco? And they wanted, for one room, the apartment consisted of, the kitchen consisted of a microwave, and you had to share the bathroom. So it basically just a room, no bathroom in it, and a place to wash, I guess, a sink and a microwave. That's all you had. And they wanted $1,400 and something. So, you know, if you're making minimum wage or even above minimum wage, you can't afford that. You can't. So yeah, that's, until they build affordable housing, nothing they do is going to work. Nothing. It's not that there's a lack of housing. It's not that. It's that there's a lack of affordable housing. You know, there's lots of places to rent, just nobody can afford it. And only the people that have very, very good jobs. And so the homeless, they're just going to continue to grow. And as we take in even more and more illegals, there's going to be more and more homelessness. So I don't know. It's a catch-22, but they need to start thinking out of the box, because if they keep doing what they're doing, they're going to keep getting what they've been getting. And it's not working. So you would think some bright light bulb would say, yeah, you know what we've been doing isn't working. We got to change. We got to change it up. No, they don't do that. They just keep, you know, as long as they have money and as long as they're in power, they don't care. You think they care about the homelessness? No. They'll care once the diseases break out, which they already have, and, you know, because it'll spread to everyone else. It's not just going to stay in the homeless encampments. It's going to spread everywhere. So, yeah. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's go here. Oh, yes. This is very, very important. Arkansas reinstates Hillary's revoked law license, setting stage for Clinton as Attorney General or Supreme Court. Now, we know that she won't get in, but who knows in the future? This woman is power hungry. She's power hungry. She's going to get it any way she can. True Pundit has verified the Arkansas judiciary has reinstated Hillary Clinton's suspended law license just days ago, 17 years after it was suspended. Hillary announced last week she would not seek the presidency in 2020, but the quiet, mysterious reinstatement of her law license sets the stage for a possible attorney general post, according to Clinton and D.C. insiders, or perhaps the Supreme Court. Revenge personified. Hillary's law license was reinstated on March 4th, 2019, according to the Arkansas officials. It had been suspended since March 14th, 2002, according to records. The Arkansas judiciary lists Clinton's address as P.O. Box in Chappaqua, New York, where Clinton resides. Clinton's law license was first granted in 1973, Arkansas records show. Larry Nichols, a Clinton insider and whistleblower, agreed Clinton could be looking for a spot as Attorney General if Democrats won the House in 2020. It just gets worse. Absolutely, Nichols said, she could become the Pope, and she's not even Catholic. Who is going to stop her? Or does Hillary want a seat on the Supreme Court? Probably. Nichols echoed the sentiment of Mike Thomas Paine Moore, who floated that Hillary was looking at the Attorney General job last week on Crowdsource, the Truth's weekly Patreon show. Moore and Nichols just floated the possibility, although it was unknown at the time that Clinton's law license had been restored in Arkansas literally hours earlier. Moore said he wouldn't rule out a White House counsel post either for Clinton. He wouldn't rule it out either for Clinton. A clear law license sure would help her get confirmation as Attorney General, Moore said. I mean, who in D.C. has the guts to vote against her? She already runs the Justice Department and she's sitting at home. One thing for sure, this woman is already planning her revenge for losing in 2016. Yeah, I believe that. The Arkansas Times reports Clinton's license was suspended in March 2002 for failure to complete continuing education requirements. Having been admitted to the bar more than 40 years ago, she was admitted to the Arkansas bar in October 1973, and also older than 70, she's no longer required under Arkansas rules to meet the CLE requirements. Clinton was a partner in the Rose law firm when Bill Clinton ran for president. She stayed busy since, but not as a practicing lawyer. Her last appearance of record in an Arkansas court was in May 1992, a civil case before the Arkansas Court of Appeals. Bill Clinton's law license was suspended for 5 years in 2001 as an agreed settlement for disciplinary action over his misleading testimony about Monica Lewinsky in depositions taken in a lawsuit against him by Paula Jones. He has not sought reinstatement. The story is developing. So if we ever lost to the Democrats in 2020, you can bet she will be back in the government and up to her tricks. So whatever we do, we have to make sure Trump wins, because it is our only hope. It really is. And after that, I don't know. After the next 4 years with Trump, don't know what will happen, but yeah, that's scary to me. This is very scary. She should be in prison. She should be in Gitmo, and she's out getting her law degree or law license reinstated. Okay, let's go on here, and let's look at this. Now, I got this off of Twitter, and this person was speaking to AOC, but I like this little graphic because, and let me make it a little bit bigger. Sammy, don't lay on my legs. It's too hot in here. Okay. Here is human trafficking arrests. 100, my glasses are, yeah, 100,000, no, it's 10,000. 10,320 as of 09/01/18. And the year before, there was 3,213 human trafficking arrests. Now look at under Obama. Well, there was only in 2000. Oh, no. Oh, he's chewing. It's chewing. Get down. Sorry. Cat attack. I didn't even have to spray. I just had to show him the bottle. Look at this. 2010, there was only 300. 300. And under Trump, in 2018, there was 10,320. Yeah. His best year, 2016, was 1,952. So Trump, 10 times as many arrests as Obama. And even in his first year, 2017, well, that wasn't his first year, but that's the second year, isn't it? Yeah. 3,213, he had 3,213. So he had more than all, the previous years of Obama. The highest he ever got to was 1,952 in 2016. So there you go. Trump is doing stuff. He's doing a lot of stuff. He doesn't get credit for any of it, but he's doing it. And now what is he into? He makes me nervous because he looks at things like there's a bug crawling along the floor, but I always go to look thinking, I'm going to find a spider or a bug, but it's never there. I think he sees things. I hope he's not a schizophrenic cat. I don't know. All right. Now, here is another thing that will make you go, yeah. Won't surprise you, though. Won't surprise you. Nah, not you guys. Catholic bishop walks asylum seekers across U.S.-Mexico border to protest Trump. And look at the little, multicolored scarf he has on there. The bishop prayed and walked a Honduran family of 5 across the border bridge to make a claim. A Catholic bishop from Texas walked with Central American migrants across the U.S.-Mexico border bridge to protest the Trump administration. Well, isn't that special? Yeah. He's probably just looking for fresh victims. I'm sorry, that's very accusatory of me, but that's where we are. I don't think that he's doing this out of like unselfish whatever. Maybe, but still, he's breaking the law. He's allowing others to break the law. So there you go with that. Now, let's go back here. No, really, no, seriously, let's go back. And let's look at, I'm going to leave this one because we're running out of time here. And I want to get to this. Again, my friend Heather sent this to me, and I think it's very interesting. Despicable in WAPO, Washington Post op-ed, restaurant owner who kicked out Sarah Sanders basically tells Trump family and staff to dine at home or else. As we told you earlier this week, the Secret Service detained a woman for spitting on Eric Trump at a Chicago cocktail lounge. Trump refused to press charges. Right on cue, the Washington Post is running an op-ed written by the restaurant owner who kicked out Sarah Sanders last year, and she says that treating certain people badly for the offense of having differing political views and appearing in public is the way it's going to be now. Well, isn't that lovely? From the co-owner of the Red Hen, restaurants are now a soundstage for the national spectacle, and the rules have shifted. So don't tell people that you're a conservative when you go into a restaurant, because you might get your food spit in or any number of things. The rules have shifted at restaurants because there's a president in office the left hates. Yep. Pretty much. Server spits on Eric Trump in Chicago bar. Now restaurant owner who kicks out Sarah Sanders leaps to defense of server. New rules apply. If you're directly complicit in spreading hate or perpetrating suffering, maybe you should consider dining at home. Wow. That, it just, I don't know. It's beyond me. It really is. It's beyond me. But wouldn't it be nice, I mean, to have a business and, you know, you don't care. You'll cut out half the population or more because you don't like conservatives. So only liberals can dine there. I mean, who runs a business that way? Really? Who? You're there to serve food. It's not a political statement. Going for a meal is not a political statement. You know, you're there to exchange money for food and service. What about that don't these people get? I'm just saying. What if you go, like, what if everybody had that, you know, frame of mind? You go in to buy shoes and they say, are you a conservative? Oh no, we don't want our shoes on conservatives. No, get out of here. You go into a clothing store, you're trying stuff on. Are you conservative? Well, you're not welcome here. Get out. Who's going to stay in business? I don't know. These people don't think. Well, they think. Their thinking is very fractured and flawed. All right. Now, let's see if there's any more that I want to, we got this. We already looked at this about the laser. And, okay, the last thing we're going to look at, I think we will go ahead and hit on this. Florida City pays $462,000 in ransom after second cyber attack cripples city's infrastructure. Now, this is important because all of our infrastructure is at risk, really, to hackers. And I think that is what these hackers are trying to prove. I think that's the point they're trying to prove. Well, let's just read this. Cyber criminals have struck for the second week in a row, this time on a small Florida city called Lake City, according to the Wall Street Journal. The city has agreed to pay ransom to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars after a ransomware attack crippled its systems. Lake City Council approved the measure during an emergency meeting Monday night and will be paying about $462,000 via Bitcoin by way of the city's insurer. This payment follows a similar incident in Riviera Beach, a city of 34,000 near West Palm Beach, where the city's council authorized a similar $600,000 ransom payment. So the thing is, okay, so you succumb to this and you pay the ransom, but what's to stop them from doing it again and again and again and again. The event in Lake City began June 10th with what the city described as a triple threat malware attack, then escalated with a ransom demand last week. The city said in a news release that the attack knocked out email and hindered city services, and people had to temporarily pay utility bills on terminals at the police station, the city manager said. The attack included a ransomware variant called Ryuk, which is known for hefty ransom demands. Emergency services weren't affected, but Lake City authorities worried they wouldn't be able to access encrypted files such as ordinances, public record requests, and utility information. So that's really serious, and not the only city it's happened to. So obviously there are people that can hack into the infrastructure and cripple cities and then demand ransom. These are both signs of how increasingly sophisticated hackers are targeting cities with outdated IT infrastructure and holding them ransom for sizable sums and succeeding. The Riviera Beach ransom was about 12 times the size of a ransom demand that Atlanta refused to pay last year. These demands are becoming more common and are growing in size. The six-figure sums averaged only a couple $1,000 a few years ago. They're going to start getting more and more bold, and they're going to start demanding millions. It was just a couple thousand a few years ago. Now it's, up to 600,000. That's getting close to $1 million. Ironically, the hacking measures appear to come thanks to a hack of the NSA's own weaponized hacking arsenal, which is now being used against the U.S. Larry Ponemon said, whose Michigan research company, the Ponemon Institute, focuses on information security, said there is a lot of copycats out there, and they figure they're going to ride the gravy train. Attackers are going after both companies and cities regularly by exploiting vulnerabilities via malicious email attachments and demanding payment for decryption keys. I mean, who are these people? Are they deep state? Are they... they're obviously not out for the good of Americans if they would cripple a U.S. city. Attackers are going at, the attacks occur every day, and many are never publicized. Local governments are especially vulnerable if they lack resources to update infrastructure and invest in security. Michael Tannenbaum, head of the North American Cyber and Professional Liability at insurance giant Chubb, said, "We do see an increase in frequency against municipalities." So, I'm not going to read the rest of this, but it's just, we worry about attacks on our infrastructure. We worry about terrorists, but I think the terrorists, some of the so-called terrorists, are our very own. They are Americans that are working for the deep state or whoever, or just working for their own selfish self. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it has to be an EMP attack, which is something that we've all thought about and all considered, because there's attacks on the infrastructure and the power systems all over. So I don't know, but I guess I know I don't want people to worry, because that doesn't help anything, and we do have to have faith that our president is trying as quickly as possible to get things in order. He's done remarkable things, but there's still a long way to go, a long way. And I don't know, but if I don't see something this year, if I don't see Hillary brought to justice this year, I am really going to lose hope that she will ever be brought to justice, because I find it gobsmacking that she was able to get her law license back. Scary. She obviously has something planned. So we'll see. Anyway, that is it for tonight, and it is now 10:24, so I've been going for about an hour, and I will be back tomorrow I may not do a show on Monday. Monday is Canada Day here. It's like the 4th of July in the States. And so there are all sorts of activities in the park. We're going to be making the largest human maple leaf and setting the world record. I know that sounds stupid, but hey, why not? And there's fireworks and all that. So I may not be posting on Monday, but I will post tomorrow. And I'll let you know tomorrow night if I'm going to be posting on Monday or not. I will be posting on July 4th, though, because it's not a holiday here. So it's not like I can attend any festivities. I wish I could. But I will be with you guys in spirit. That's for sure. So anyway, I do plan on posting the other nights next week, including July 4th. So there you go. And I am going to sign off for tonight. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, stay well, stay blessed. And that's right, keep seeking truth, because deception will bite you in your hinder parts. Okay, good night.